Welcome to this look at my top 10 most helpful mods in Farming Simulator 22. Come along with me, Mr. Sealy P. Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here, the moment you have all been waiting for. At least two of you have been waiting for anyway. This is Mr. Sealy P's top 10 most helpful mods in FS22. Now, top 10's are always a difficult one. I've mentioned this on Let's Plays. People ask me, what are your favourite maps? What are your favourite mods? What are your most used mods? What are your most helpful mods? This is a personal list. Your list will be different. And your list should be different. Could be different. You might not have used some of these mods. You might have seen some of these mods. You might know I use some of these mods. These are not necessarily my favourite mods. I might do a top 10 favourite mods, and those could just be random stuff, but these are the most helpful. Now, when I say most helpful, because of what I do, and these will depend on what map you're playing on. It will depend whether you're doing precision farming. It will depend what type of farming you're doing. But I have found, especially because I'm YouTubing when I do mod reviews as well, because I'm on console, and that's my choice, when I'm setting up my mod reviews, there are mods I use that help me set things up quicker, which obviously can be used generally in your farming, in your games, in your Let's Plays. So this is my top 10. Now there are some honourable mentions. I was going to do a top 5. Impossible. It ends up being a top 10. That top 10 could have easily been a top 15, could have been a top 20, could have been a top 50. Because as I was going through mods, I was thinking, oh, but what about this? And what about that? And I was grabbing different mods to use while I was setting this up, thinking, but I use this as well, and that as well. So I've got it to 10, but there are some honourable mentions in there as well. Like I say, you also will be different. And if you don't agree with this top 10, that's absolutely fine as well. There's no reason why you would agree with this top 10. So they are in no particular order. I was going to do a countdown, like top of the pops, top of the crops, and get down to my absolute most helpful, but these are just randomly spread out as I set them up, not in any particular order. So the one I'm starting with is not number 10, the one I finish with is not number 1, they're just, you know. So in front of me we've got the Toolbox mod. This is by Schultz Modding, great friend of the channel. I like this mod a lot. There are loads and loads of Toolbox mods, there are loads and loads of workshop mods, there's loads of stuff you can use. And obviously this is what we've got accessible on console. PC mods vary wildly as well, there's a whole load of stuff. What I like about this, you can pick it up, you can move it around, you can put it in the back of your pickup. Now it doesn't strap down, that's the only thing I will say about it. But as long as you're careful you're driving, you can drive off, take it wherever you want around the map. Let's grab that back out again. But you need to be aware, if you are going to use this mod, that wherever you place it when you first get it, let's get this back on its base, when you first get it, that's where it will reset back to. So be careful where you put it. If you want to put it somewhere you know it's always going to be when you come back into the game, that's where it will end up. So you can take it while you're playing all around the map, do whatever you want, do all the repairs you want to do, but just be aware that it will reset back to where you were. You'll find this under build mode and tools. If I click on that now, you need to have the two little clips at the front facing, or as close to, turn it around a little bit, the vehicle you want to work on. Click on it, you've got your Toolbox mod. Workshop trigger, and it works brilliantly. Like I said, under build mode, this is not a mod review per se, but I will kind of explain, you know, and this is why I like it. You know, it just works really well. Under tools, it's inexpensive, 750. You can place a few of those around the map as well if you want to, and it just works really well. So, Toolbox by Schultz Modding. Next, we've got this. This is the fire hydrant, but this is part of the water pack by OmaTana. Why do I use this and why do I like it? Well, once it's placed and purchased, water is free. Well, there are tons and tons of water mods out there and wells and loads of stuff in the mod hub, which are also free. That's not any particular reason why it stands out to me. It stands out to me because it's small. You can place this really close up against buildings if you're doing animals, against animal pens. It takes up very little room, and again there are lots of other ones available that do the same thing. But when this came out, I started using it. I've just kind of stuck with it. It works well. There is another one also by OmaTana that I've used occasionally, but it just does the job. I tell you what I will do as well. Let's put on that. There we go. So you can see the trigger for it. So when you place it, try to make sure that when you put it down, if you have that option on to show you icons and triggers, you can place it so that's not inside a building or so you can't get to it. It just, yeah, I like it. It works well. It's never failed me. So that one you'll find on the containers out on the end. These are all part of the water pack here. There we go. Part of the open air garden mod. You've got the garden pump, also by OmaTana. I'm going to be looking at that mod in a minute. That's the same thing. It's very small. Doesn't take up a lot of room. You can also do toggle free mode on and off with these anyway, so you can put stuff close to buildings anyway, but it's just, yeah, it does the job. That's the water pack fire hydrant by OmaTana. Next over here we've got this. This is the Multifruit buying station by 82 Studio. Now this is one of the early ones that came out. There are a load of multi-fruit purchasing points that you can buy. Seed and fertilizer purchase points, manure buy point, I mean tons and tons and tons. Again, this one is one that I started using, I've stuck with. There's a field working one over there, that mod there. I'll have to put it in the description because I can't remember off the top of my head who that was by. And there's an option with that one, and that you can get seed, fertilizer, manure, liquid fertilizer, you know, it's your field work stuff. And there's an option to get one of those, which is you buy it, but then everything you get from it is free. So, I mean, that's not by 82 Studio, but I'll either put it up on the screen or I'll put it in the description. So, yeah, but this is the one I kind of stick with. One of the reasons I stick with this is because it does everything. That one over there will do just certain products. This does pretty much everything, including all your palleted goods. So again, for me, when I'm setting up mod reviews, when I'm doing stuff and I need pallets and I need them quickly, whatever it might be, I can run through, I mean, everything you can get pretty much from this. As new stuff comes out, these things tend to get updated, but you can grab whatever you want from it and it does the job. If I've got a trailer, I can do all my crop types, I can get water, I can get, you know, everything. The prices aren't too expensive and it works, you know, it works really well. Actually, what I was going to do was grab something out there, so I need that to show off one of the mods I'm going to do in a minute. Let's go with, doesn't really matter, does it? That'll do. And load those just there. That you will also find under build mode and containers. Just there, and again, that's something 2,500 to buy. That's all. So yeah, that's always been an absolute winner for me on Let's Play maps and stuff. If you're trying to do stuff off camera, if you're setting things up, if you're doing subscriber contract Let's Plays, and you've got people sending you requests for things, it just works brilliantly for me personally. Awesome bit of kit, the Multifruit buying station by 82 Studio. Next, we'll go into that in just a moment. We've got this. Yeah, this is where we're going to get an honourable mention as well. This is the CSZ Pack by ModPassion. The pack itself is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, works really, really well. But specifically out of that pack, as you will all know by now, the big bag handler. Now, the big bag handler wasn't the first one to come out. The first one we got was the big bag and support package by Farm Centro Sul. Now that's the one I first started using, and it was for big bags and stuff like that. And I think on Calmsden Farm I tried to use it for logging, just one of those kind of, I wonder if it'll pick up logs, and it did, and it worked brilliantly. And then once the CSZ pack came out, the big bag handler does the same thing. If I go into here and go to front loader tools, I'll show you the other one. Like I say, honourable mention. There you go, the big bag winch. So that's part of the big bag and support package by Farm Centro Sul. That did the job and works really well. Does exactly the same thing with straps. Now while I'm doing this as well, again another honourable mention. I mean, this is then turned into a top 15 now, isn't it? But that's okay. Is on the back, I've always up until now, well, the Mantrid Lightweight, one of my absolute favourites because it will hook onto anything that's got an attachment. And then Tiago messaged me and said, oh, had you thought about using the TLX weight? Well, I couldn't find it. Couldn't find it anyway. It's part of the pack. It's the TLX service pack. The TLX HD front weight by 82 Studio, which you have lights and beacons and all the rest of it. But this is the one that you can adjust the weight of it depending on what you're using. So that weight, in conjunction with if you're doing logging or whatever you want to do, that just works absolutely brilliantly. But we'll go back to this. So if you haven't, I'll be amazed if you haven't seen me use this. I am using pallet forks and stuff more and more in Let's Plays, and I do use them every now and again, but sometimes when you just want stuff done quickly, these work well. They do have one drawback that pallet forks don't, but for ease of use, for speed of use, they are absolutely brilliant for what they do. And like I say, if you've got a weight on the back of whatever you're using as well, and especially this one, the TLX one, that you can adjust the weight of. Oh, plus that comes with a winch as well. So, I mean, if you've got the Platinum expansion, you're all over it. You haven't got to worry. And then off you go, load up whatever you do. But the downside to this and the other one, you can load onto trailers really well, but if you try to unload from a trailer, the straps will grab onto the entire trailer, not just what you want to take off. So it does have a drawback, but absolutely phenomenal bit of kit. The big bag handler, part of the CSZ pack, which is, I mean, the pack itself, there's so much stuff in it, is absolutely brilliant, by ModPassion. Next we're going to go to, actually we'll go to this because I used it already, and it's this. Tons of tractor mods out there, small, medium and large, absolutely brilliant. There's loads and loads and tons, and you know, there's one by Mack Trucker 921 I used on Edgewater, the Case IH, FL series. I mean, it's just that's amazing bit of kit. But this is the John Deere 4755 by Ridiculous Dominick. Why do I use it? Why do I find it most helpful? Well, one is the speed of it, and there's a ton of options for tyres and so many different options on it. As you can see, I've got tracks all round on a John Deere on this one, you know. But when you go into the actual buy point and go to medium tractors, just there, the reason I go for this one, again, for mod reviews and when I'm setting up my mods and stuff, is the speed of it. So standard, like that, the 4755, which you can absolutely have it standard, you can set it all up and away you go. 19 mile an hour top speed, brilliant, 190 horsepower. If I go that way, I can go Unreal 2. That gives me 890 horsepower for just an extra £2,000. But it goes up to 46 miles an hour, which is brilliant in itself. If I go to Unreal 1, which is the first option, still 890 horsepower, but 93 miles per hour. And like I said, the options on it, there are loads and loads. I'm not going to, like I said, it's not a mod review. I'm not going to go for all the tyre choices, that kind of thing. But for me, when I'm setting up mod reviews, at 93 miles an hour, if I'm trying to get things across the map, around the map, like I was for doing this today, I can use a lorry, but the lorries don't always go up that high. Some of the TLX ones do, but the speed of it is absolutely brilliant and perfect for what I do. It works really well. I love the, I mean, if it was just a fast tractor with not many options, maybe I wouldn't be as impressed with it, but I have to say, for everything you get with it, the price of it, the speed of it, everything, it's brilliant. Fantastic bit of kit. Absolutely love it. The John Deere 4755 by Ridiculous Dominick. Now behind that over here, we've got these. Again, if you watch my Let's Plays, you'll know. OmaTana. Love OmaTana. This is the Open Air Garden by OmaTana. This has got an attachment. You've already seen the standpipe that I showed you as well, part of this pack. I like this pack, again, if you're on a Let's Play, or if you're running a farm, if you need a crop type, if you want to do pig food, and obviously with the new way the game works, with the fact your crops take much longer to grow, which is more realistic, I absolutely understand that. This Open Air Garden pack, you can grow tomatoes, lettuce, strawberries, standard potato, sunflower, sugar beet, soybean, corn, cotton, and then you've got the option to do it with seed and solid fertiliser and seed and manure as well, so you can get them all running and you can get quite a production going, which given all of those options and also the price of them, if we go into here, go to production, go to greenhouses, they're £2,000 each. And you can get those crops producing immediately like a greenhouse does. Not everyone agrees with them. Again, like I say, this is not necessarily about mods that are authentic, realistic, you know, whatever. These are just most helpful mods I have found. And I think the Open Air Garden works brilliantly. There are loads of greenhouse mods out there, but for the variety of stuff you can do in this, it works really well. And then part of that pack is this sort of distribution hub. So all the things that takes, so you water your seed, solid fertiliser and manure, you can fill this up, and then because this works as a production chain, the distributor, if I had 10 of these dotted around, that will distribute out all of my products to the greenhouse. So you don't have to keep filling the greenhouse up, you just go to one centralised point, fill that up, and that will disperse it out amongst it. Again, it's brilliant. It works really well. I love it. I've used it a lot on Let's Plays. I know people say, oh, you always fall back on that, because it works. So yeah, it's a great bit of kit. You might use it, you might not, but like I say, it's my top 10. Next, what have we got? Oh yes, over here we have the Devour Trees. This is by Rowley Christie 1 VSR Modding Sur. Now, I've said so many times when I do map tours, if you've got forested areas, or you've got a forest map, or you've got an area you want to clear of trees, there are loads of mulchers available, various different bits of kit for clearing trees much quicker in game now. So if you don't want to do forestry per se, you don't have to. If there's a load of stuff you want to do where you want to do wood chipping, again, there are tons of wood chipping mods out there, and some absolutely fantastic realistic ones, and you know, there's some great stuff out there. This thing is an absolute weapon. Again, I absolutely love it for speed of clearing trees, for the fact it can produce wood chips. You don't have to have it to produce wood chips. You can have it just as a tree removal tool, pretty much, and it is fast, so you can get through trees really quickly. But if you do want to produce wood chips, I dare you to find anything quicker in game. That's just an incredible bit of kit. This you'll find not under there, under forestry. Just there. Now it's 25 grand for the base model, and that's got a capacity of it. Now in its own right, 50,000 litres, so you wouldn't necessarily need a trailer if you didn't want to, but you couple that with a trailer, especially now we've got loads of trailer mods with large capacities, you can go absolutely mad with it. Or you can have it no capacity, so you won't produce wood chips, that will just cut down trees. And then you've got real or unreal, puts the pipe on. Now I would have thought it would have been the other way around. But if you go for with the pipe, that adds an extra 100 grand on, so it's 125,000. But if you lease it rather than buy it, and it's rapid, you can clear areas really quickly, and we can change the main colour. So, like I say, personally, if you want to clear trees quickly and you want the wood chip from it, and you'll see I've got a range of different trees here, and it cuts pretty much everything, even the trees that are a bit odd and a bit knobbly, and the ones you wouldn't really normally cut down. It all depends. We've got a large oak here, and some of these, the actual amount of wood chip you get from some of these trees that you wouldn't normally cut down. Turn it on, drop it down. There we go. 21,190 litres of wood chips from one tree. Sometimes you have to come at there we go. That's that done. What was another one that had quite a lot of capacity to it? The large poplar. Let's just take us up to 58,000 litres. So as you can see, as a piece of kit for doing wood chipping, it's second to none. If you don't want it to have a capacity, you don't have to. If you go with a large capacity trailer, as I've done, this is 150,000 litres, but I mean, obviously there are so many in game. Couple that with the 50,000 litres on the front, you can clear an entire forest without having to unload, which is just, I think, that's a win. There we go. Love it. That's the Devour Trees by Rowley Christie 1 VSR Modding Sur. Next, what are we up to? Number 8. Now, I say the numbers are arbitrary, but number 8. Oh, yes. We have this. Now, this will only be relevant if you're doing precision farming, but this is the ISARIA Colour and Range Extension by Achimobil. If I go into this menu here, go to here. Now, I've bought all these fields around here. This one, I've got no mapping done on any of these. Now, obviously, in-game now, this is new to FS22, but on FS19 it wasn't. We can just purchase soil information. So you can buy your field, you can click on it with precision farming on, and you can purchase the soil information. So you don't have to do any soil sampling at all. It can be quite pricey, but if you want to do soil sampling yourself, the only downside to the standard in-game soil sampler, which you'll find under miscellaneous, just there, the Scout, the range is quite small, so you might have to do, depending on the size of your fields, I mean, it's what a lot of people are saying. The problem is you go into the field and you might have to do 20, 30 soil samples. I think they're £100, euros or dollars each, so the price can start to ramp up, and it takes a long time. This one, however, we've got the M32.5, the L65, XL130 and the XXL260. Now these we can change the colour of them and all different options on it as well, but this extends the range out. So if you still want to do soil sampling but you don't want to do 50 soil samples on a field, this bad boy, it works brilliantly. Now again, like I say, you can purchase soil information if you want, and obviously this is somewhere between the two. You're kind of blurring the lines between doing it realistically with soil sampler, purchasing the soil information, and this is somewhere in between. You're still kind of doing it yourself, but kind of not. And I love it because it works really well. You don't have to go for the XXL. If you want, you could go for a smaller size in the extended range, still do a few soil samples, but it works absolutely brilliantly. So what I'll do, turn that on. So what I should do now is lower soil sampling unit, take soil sample. Soil samples taken 1. If we go back to the map, look at the range of that. That's 1 soil sample taken. Now that's charged me 100. When I send it off, that's 100. If I'd purchased the soil information, it would have cost me a fair bit of money. But for 100, that's 1 soil sample. I mean, I could soil sample probably the entire map in, what, 10 soil samples probably. It works. It really does work. Send soil sample information to the laboratory. Yes, please. And that's that field done, and a few round it as well. Like I said, you don't have to go for that range. Of course you don't. And then we've got our soil samples back. There we go. Job done. Cost us 100. That's it. Cracking bit of kit if you're doing precision farming. Love it. The ISARIA colour and range extension by Achimobil. Next, we're up to number 9. Yeah, only one more to go. Oh, that was a couple of honourable mentions I was going to do. Hang on, bear with me. One of them is this. This is the Lizard DLK2312cc by NRX, Eki and SoSci Modding. This fire engine, as a console content creator, has saved my skin so many times. When it comes to making thumbnail, I know it sounds ridiculous, and there are quite a few fire engine mods out there, and people say, "Oh, but what's the point? We don't need a fire engine." But again, that's entirely your choice, your opinion. Everyone's entitled to one. For taking thumbnails, extending the ladder up and extending it right up high, you can get really nice I know it sounds ridiculous, really nice aerial shots. Up previously, because on console we don't have a camera mode, we don't have a camera mod, we don't have in the modern era of gaming where most games have a camera mode, it's unusual the game doesn't. And on PC there are some camera mods, and you can move stuff around, and you can remove all the various different HUDs, and you can get really great thumbnails and all the rest of it. But for me, if you want to do a more aerial shot, I used to have to climb up buildings. Remember that old trick where if you cut down a log, and if you jumped, you could almost like fly in this. It was very peculiar. You could kind of fly. It was all very odd. This is fantastic for getting really high aerial shots, sweeping shots, out over water, whatever you want to do. That's my camera rig. It's just brilliant. That's not necessarily part of my top 10, but it works really well. What was the other one? Oh, when I was saying about the pallets and that, there's the Farm Supply Pack by the Lort, which is another great one for pallets, 5,000 litre pallets of various different goods for only 1,000. I've used them on various different mod reviews. I meant to do it when I was showing you the pallets and the buy station. But yeah, the Farm Supply Pack by the Lort. Like I said, this could easily have been a 15, 20. So right, onwards to number 9. And it's this. This is the Lizard Forage Pickup by FluffyMods. Now some of these I should have said it right from the start. Game changer. This was a game changer. On FS19, if you played Seasons, the realismus modding version of Seasons, there was a, I say a glitch. There was a weird thing that if you did contract work, you could collect straw swaths off a field, and that had never been a thing before. If you do a contract on a field, so in this case an oat harvest, if you were leaving a straw swath behind and it's a contract, you're only contracted to do the wheat or barley or oats on that field. If you were leaving a straw swath behind, you couldn't collect it because that wasn't the contract, it wasn't for you to do. When this came out, that changed all of that. So if I go down to, there we go, harvesting. So I've got harvest contract on field 9 for oats. The harvest contract is complete and I left straw swath on. Now a lot of people don't, they won't leave straw swath on. Again, like I said, this depends on whether you're using straw for anything. If you're running animals and you want bedding, there are a few productions, again another honourable mention in a moment. I'll do it now actually. The manure factory by FS22, which I used in Edgewater. You can take straw, put it through the manure factory, and it produces manure for you. So if you want manure for fertilising, or there are other onward things where you can turn manure into fertiliser, like solid fertiliser. You can. There's a ton of stuff you can do, which you could sell and whatever you want. So as far as harvesting contracts and then being able to take the straw off the field as well, you can take that straw, put it into a trailer, you can take it to your own field, dump it back out again and bale it if you want to, because you can't bring a baler onto a contract field, but we can pick this up. Now this doesn't just do straw, this will pick up all sorts of stuff, but it does work very well for doing this on contract fields. That's why I find it incredibly helpful. On Edgewater, it made me a fortune. I might just turn that off, should have done that. On the back, probably another honourable mention, the TARDIS XL pack by OmaTana as well. Like I said, there are so many modded trailers now with large capacities. So this is a contract field, I don't own it, I've done the oat harvest, I've left the straw swath behind. Now I've always viewed straw, I use it in my total mix ration. A lot of people say you don't need to, you only need silage and you need hay. You do, but if you can pad out that mix with straw, which is a byproduct, and if you're harvesting, and you might as well put the straw swath on, why not? Enable straw swath, get the straw off the field, and then you can use it. If you're not using it and not doing animals, you can use it for lots of other things. There are quite a few different productions now that require it, but as you can see, we're quite happily chugging along on a field we don't own, taking the straw off of it. It works really well, and you can reconcile that however you want to. I know some people say, oh yeah, but you shouldn't be able to do that, it's not your field, you don't own it. I might have an agreement with the farmer. The farmer might not normally leave straw swath, they might just chop it all onto the ground. I might have made a deal with him and said, you know what, let me have the straw, I'll send you some bales, I'll send you some money over, I'll do it. You can do whatever you want, or you don't have to justify it at all. You can do whatever you want, and it works. As you can see, we're running at 16 miles an hour. It's a brilliant bit of kit. Like I said, it will do other things, not just straw, but it works for this very nicely. So there we go. That's the Lizard Forage pickup by FluffyMods, which brings me on to number 10. Like I said, no particular order to these. My number 10 could be number 1. You know, I'm looking down the list and I honestly couldn't put them in an order. I don't know how I would put them in an order. So, number 10. And it's this. This is the QuickBale by Thor. As of the last update, this is the QuickBale. So this will run even faster. Now, admittedly, I have got this on the back of my Krona Big M450, which it will attach to, but there's no 3-point link. There are a few mods for the Krona Big M and various different things that have a little attachment that goes on the back that has a PTO if you want that attached, but it will run as it is. It shouldn't do. Another honourable mention, the Ultimate Mowing and Baling Pack by MacTrucker921. That came so close to being on this list, but I want to mention it. In conjunction with this QuickBale, that Ultimate Mowing and Baling Pack, blimey, what an amazing bit of kit. One pass for whatever you want to do. I mean, anything on the field, it works brilliantly. But this stands out to me because if you're doing silage bales, it's a baler wrapper. It runs really quickly, it wraps really quickly. As of the last update, This has trailer attachers as well that you can add on. So if you want to run an auto load trailer behind you, or two, because it's got one either side, you can have one either side of here. So as you're running across the field and producing your bales, you can be baling and loading them onto a trailer. Now this, again, this is nothing new. There are a few mods out there that do this, and on PC there's probably tons of them. This is just one I particularly like. It works well, and again, just hasn't let me down. It's a fantastic bit of kit. In conjunction with this, like I say, it depends. I normally run this on a tractor, and I thought, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll just grab the crane, turn it on, drop that down. So what I can do with this as well, this is standard in game. If I now do L1 to fold my, if I double click X, I can actually run this at the full speed of the mower. If you didn't know that. So you can quick mow with it. I haven't folded it completely, but it thinks I have. If I switch to the baler, unfold the baler, so that puts the arms out if you've gone for that as an option. So the arms on the back to attach trailers to. The wrappers on will lower the pickup, turn it on. There we go. What's the speed of this wrap? So if you haven't used it before, you can change the colour of the wrap. There are so many different options, and it also puts it on its side like that as well, so it won't roll away in fields, which makes a massive difference. Silage additive with it as well, so if you are doing silage bales, you get a 5% bonus, a little bit of a boost. And again, there are other fast balers, you know, in game. I just like the amount of options on this. There are tons of choices for manufacturers as well on it, and colour choices, but the fact you've got the thing for trailers on it in the back as well, the speed that it operates, the wrap speed, everything. It's a win for me. The QuickBale by Mark Thor. And that rounds out my top 10, 15, 20 most helpful mods in Farming Simulator 22. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I know people have often asked me and they want to know my opinion on things, or what I use and why I use it. So those were them. If you have found this useful and informative, or just entertaining in some way, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. As always, thanks for watching.